Hey y'all, it's Anime Kim, and today I'm going to be reading the 8th episode of Dororo. And I gotta say, this show does it again in bringing up the high quality when it comes to character, story, animation, and art. And let me just get the animation art out of the way. They looked amazing. The animation flowed beautifully, like in the sequences when it involved uh, Dororo, Hakimaru, and the boy Sora going up against this centipede demon ghoul-like creature, and when they were fighting against it, the visuals looked beautiful, the colors were bright in certain sequences, and I also liked how in the animation there was like a lot of choreography, like Dororo running in different directions when he was trying to like lead the creature into a trap, or when there was explosions, like you could see a lot of great smoke effects, or when the sunlight hit the centipede, then it launched a smoke so that it covers the sunlight. Those were all animated, and then the sequences where Hakimaru destroys the eye of the centipede also looked visually beautiful. So and even on the flashback sequences, it looked amazing, like with the black and white art style, and gave it a bit of grittiness. And I'd say really there was on maybe like 2 or 3 stills, but for the most part, everything else in the episode was animated beautifully. So animation was amazing, art was beautiful. If there's anything this show does, it's the art. It looks so beautiful. There was literally so many scenes in this episode. I was like, damn. After finishing this episode, I'm like, what thumbnail am I gonna use? Like everything in this episode was beautiful. That's so. Out of that way, it does go super well. The music was tense, and there was literally moments that I was worried for Dororo or Hakimaru. So, and the music helped elevate the mood with the tenseness. So that's also a positive, and the voice acting was great. Now, for the meat of the episode, which was the characters. Now, while we didn't get substantial amounts of character development for Dororo, we did get to see subtle bits of character development for our boy Hakimaru. Because I like how in this episode, even though it was some small science, you get to see him actually develop more as an individual, because all the other episodes when it comes to taking down these ghouls or demons, he always relies on his sense of sense, even though technically, quote unquote, he's blind. We all know that Hakimaru isn't really technically blind because he can sense his enemies. But like how in this episode, he's finally put in a situation that he can't really perceive what his enemy is, because it was like on this a dark house cloud, and to him everything was red, while Dororo could easily see the creature. And I kind of like that dynamic, because you had sequences where you had Hakimaru playing around with rocks to try to determine how he can perceive senses from far away, and I kind of like that little build-up sequence where it made it seem like he was playing with rocks, but no, he was actually practicing so that when he confronts that centipede monster, he actually knows what to do and how to locate it and how to fight against that. So brilliant writing on the animators from that standpoint. That is beautiful storytelling. I mean, and then I also like how when you finally see Hakimaru put those to actual usage, like when he's throwing rocks at the centipede to find out its location to attack it, that was a beautiful sequence. Even though we had a narrator pretty much spell it out for us, I'd say the build-up sequences still made it good, and the narrator sounds beastly, so I'm not going to knock it against the show for that. If anything, I thought it helped elevate the mood even more. It made it feel epic when he was going against the centipede, and it made me think, man, Hakimaru was so smart, despite not being able to see. He's using more of his hearing senses to his advantages, so that was nice to see more of his resourcefulness. And Dororo too, for helping out Hakimaru by helping Hakimaru figure out the location of the gigantic ass centipede. So it's nice to see these two work together. And Saru did his part too, because he was the character introduced this episode, and he made a nice impression, because I liked his backstory with him losing his parents and he had to live off on his own for multiple for a good amount of time until he met this woman who he pretty much became like a sister to him. And I like how they introduced an emotional conflict because this sister was nice to everyone in the village, so she offered herself us as a sacrifice because this clown demon creature ghoul thing pretty much takes these brides every so often to get satisfied. If it doesn't, it wreaks havoc on the village. So I like that because this episode introduced a conflict where you want to see the creature be slayed, not only because you want Hakimaru to get his senses back, but because you want to see the person that's in danger, the sister, be saved. So this episode had multiple good elements, and that's what made this episode stand out even more, because it gave you that emotional connection, which it wouldn't have been able to do that if they didn't give us the backstory of the boy and then the boy's sister that he's not related to with blood, but he loves her like a sister. So I love that, and that's why I thought this episode did great from the character standpoint. It made me care about Saru and his sister in the span of an episode, which is amazing because you can hella tell the writers have improved. Because just a few episodes ago, there was like the episode which I liked, that was about the brother that was possessed by the sword, and then in that episode, it had the conflict with him killing people while possessed with the sword and the sister, but I didn't feel any emotion out of that episode. But in this episode, I felt emotion when this sister was saved. So, good on the writing staff. They are getting better each episode, which is amazing. Because Dororo was already fucking great to begin with. And this show just keeps on delivering in aces. Then, aside from the character standpoint, which I thought did amazing. And let me not end off by saying that little bit where Hakimaru gets his nose back, and then the scenes where he's like sniffing the flower to get his feel of smell to get pleasure out of it was pretty nice. To see him finally have something pleasant, and it's kind of funny too where the animators kind of put a gag where the first time Dororo sniffs something, it's something that smells terrible because they just barely took down a creature that smelled like shit. So that was hilarious where they're still keeping the gag of, well, every single time Dororo gets his senses back, something bad happens. So unless nothing necessarily bad happened this time, it still had to be something that smelled pretty shitty. So I liked how in this time they used it as a joke that fit in with the tone, but then afterwards I like how they complimented with him sniffing a flower, and then I like how it ended off with him saying Dororo's name. That was beautiful, especially when Dororo was lighting up when Hakimaru said his name. It just made the episode amazing, and it really helped develop Hakimaru's character more for those reasons. So that's why I thought from a character standpoint this episode was on point, and from a story standpoint it was on point because it made me care about Saru and his sister for a short amount of time. The action set pieces were entertaining, and I felt tension because throughout the whole episode, you can see in my live reaction, I was fucking worried for Hakimaru. I was like, please don't let him lose a body part. And when he didn't, I was like, ooh, I breathed a sigh of relief, and that shows you that this episode had tension. And from a story perspective, it did its job of being entertaining and having an emotional impact. And that's what really, really made this episode resonate with me. And that's why I'm going to rate this episode 9 out of 10. I thought it was that good. So anyways, guys and gals, my thoughts on Dororo episode 8. Comment down your thoughts in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Subscribe for more. Alright, bye-bye, everyone.